Hi everyone. Today is Friday, July 15th, 2016, and we have to keep watch today right through to the 23rd because symbolism tends to escalate between the 15th and the 23rd of each month. Tonight I'll be seeing the Ghostbusters movie, which actually represents the spirits coming and the dead rising and things. It even represents the dead rising that is shown on this Illuminati cards game cover. But essentially, you see this picture right here, right? You see this thing right here could even represent just like a Christianity cross. But all of these people are down the bottom because it represents that they have to stay on Earth. But all of these people are at the top because it represents that they're going to go to heaven. Because Captain America represents Jesus Christ, and then Iron Man represents Satan. Now, it's not clear whether Scarlet Witch represents the woman of the Bible or whether she actually represents the person who Jesus Christ gets married to at the wedding feast of the Lamb. We're not sure which, but it's one or the other. Because you know in the news that Chris Evans and Elizabeth Olsen have been getting quite close. But the weird thing about this is, right, you have one Russian person in one team and you have another Russian person in another team. Now, Black Widow is Russian in the comics, but I'm not sure whether she's actually Russian in the films or not. I can't actually remember. But she seems to have an American accent in the films, which is a bit odd. But Russia could even be on top in this picture, because it could actually represent Russia rising up. See Russia rising up right there, with Putin and everything. And then all of these people down the bottom will have to literally worship at the feet of all of these people at the top. I know worshipping at Elizabeth Olsen's feet is quite an exciting prospect for some people, including me. But obviously, I would rather worship like the feet themselves. But you know, I mean, but anyway, Palpatine in Star Wars is basically the great deceiver, just as this clown is a great deceiver, and he brings this idol worship. The clones themselves aren't really deceivers because they're just following orders at the end of the day. Because like this is why the clones in Star Wars that become stormtroopers actually represent Nazis. Because if the Nazis disobeyed orders, they would be shot and killed. Or something much worse than that. And the same would happen if the clones or the stormtroopers disobeyed orders. These basically represent the same thing as like the Iron Legion in Avengers 2. Like, that is why you even see yellow on their armor. Because Iron Man has yellow and red armor. And some clones even have green armor, which represents Islam rising up. Because the Empire rises up, just like Nazis did, and just like Islam is going to. Well, it's already started already. Islam has already started to rise up. But here it says Sixth scale figure, and that actually represents the Sixth age that is going to come after the Fifth age. We're in the Fourth age at the moment. But you see you see how the, the clones made out that they were on the good side. They made out that they were on Jesus Christ's side, when really they weren't. They were on Satan's side all along. It's the same with Apocalypse, in X-Men Apocalypse. He made out that he was people's saviour, when really he wasn't. He was just a destroyer. That's why Apocalypse is blue, and that's why you see blue and white on these clone troopers' armour. Because as we know, blue represents Jesus Christ and white represents heaven, and they wear this to try and convince you that they're on the side of good, when really they're not. See, even the yellow and the red on this one as well. Just like Iron Man has yellow and red armor. See the red for Satan. And then, if we go back to this, you see Hawkeye's the guy with the bow and arrow. We'll see this person with the bow and arrow right here. It represents like the same thing as Katniss Everdeen in the Hunger Games, because she has a bow and arrow as well. See Elizabeth Olsen's wearing white for heaven here. And here. And here. You even see that this sofa is blue for Jesus Christ, and even this wall is as well. These things on the wall could represent Illuminati pyramids, but they could also represent the V for the Fifth Age as well. It could represent her being underneath the burdens of Egypt. Just like Prince William on this glyph is shown to be underneath the burdens of Egypt, because he's underneath this pyramid. It's shown again on this picture. No, not that picture, sorry. It's shown again on this picture right here. You see this house is shaped like an Illuminati pyramid, so it represents her being underneath the burdens of Egypt right here. And then it says adult movies right way up here. And that actually represents the porn industry rising up. You see, like, the text is red for Satan. And it says Harvard House. See the V for the Fifth Age right there? And if you turn that M upside down, it becomes a W for World War III. Because these things looking like squares even represent the Islam cube. And these stairs could even represent Jacob's ladder. I was actually at a place in Sidmouth, Devon, yesterday, and it was literally called Jacob's Ladder. And it was near some red cliffs. Now, of course, you have the red cliffs of Devon, but you have the white cliffs of Dover. The white cliffs obviously represent heaven, and then the red cliffs represent well, Satan. You see how Elizabeth Olsen and Snow White represent the woman of the Bible, because her sucking this lolly right here represents just like Snow White taking a bite from the apple. Yeah. I mean, she's even barefoot in most of these pictures, because it represents that she has to have her feet washed to get into heaven. by holy water, just like Jesus washed his apostles' feet. So yeah, let's just take a look at the pictures of her sexy feet. In this particular picture here, she's actually got heels on. But it represents, like, in the future she'll actually have to take them off to have her feet washed by holy water. And then these white and black stripes actually represents blending the iron with the clay, because the white represents heaven and the black represents the darkness. So it represents blending the light with the dark, blending the good with the bad. This even goes back to when that Michael guy from Angry Grandpa had a striped shirt as well. Like this new Adam character in Hollyoaks, he's wearing a blue shirt for Jesus Christ, but he could even represent just like Adam out of Adam and Eve. He could even represent me. See all of these claims right here, how they're all lined up like Nazis. Like, Order 66 even represents just like martial law coming. See how she's underneath the pyramid here. See how he's underneath the pyramid here. See, this light could even represent a pyramid. And she's underneath it. She's underneath the burdens of Egypt. Until she's granted the wings of a great eagle. And then she can ascend into heaven. See, the falcon represents the eagle. This It film even represents just like when you have information technology lessons about computers. Like, because, like, when you go on the internet, you can essentially access quite a lot of satanic symbolism and things. So you see how these two clans basically represent the same person, Satan. Basically, right, here it says 7 children, and that could even represent just like those 7 golden lampstands that is in the Revelation section of the Bible. And even they're making a remake of this It film next year. See 2017, representing just like the 7 children and the 7 golden lampstands. The children could even represent just like the beast is supposed to feast on children's souls. This could even go back to the Pokemon Go thing that we were talking about in the last video. Like, it's the reason that this is being remade next year is because it represents Satan rising up and the clown rising up, which is basically the same person. Because this book was even written by Stephen King, and it represents the clown as the king of the Illuminati.
Do you see this person in this casket right here?
This could even represent just like Snow White being in the casket, because like when the prince kisses her, she comes back to life. And that prince could even represent Prince William, like putting his soul into her.
This is called a clown, or a clone.
See how it goes back to the clones in Star Wars?
Workers for this guy. Oops, sorry. For that guy right there. See him? This is the same.
See the DNA strip right there? It represents just like Mr. DNA in Jurassic Park. And they're making hybrids in Area 51, just like Dalek Sec hybrid in Doctor Who.